What are you dancing today?
Hey, Peter. Ooh, um, so I am into a spin. I'm spinning around as a calm way of thinking, maybe. Uh, what do I mean? That I had this flash, this idea yesterday. That be an interpreter, a dancer, is uh, is is really building a performance. I'm so sorry. It's a mess now. Okay. What I mean is that compositional wise is very similar to what does the choreographer.
Mm.
I'm thinking that I'm busy with the body, in organizing uh, an experience, in improvising and listening to the moment, emotional. Somehow I just realized for the first time, and I mean realize physically while performing,
Mm.
that it's exactly what a choreographer does. It's just on a scale of a body. And the
Yeah.
choreographer might be busy in a scale of a theater or in a scale of a site, together with technician or with dancers or with audience. Yeah, that's I think is what I am dancing now. I'm spinning around with on my chair
This,
as a contemplation of these thoughts.
yeah, this is exactly. I, I always in my yeah, I've always felt there is a there's a similar job that we're all choreographers because we're all having to contend with choreography. If choreography is this expanded phenomena, this thing that informs us. This is sort of my definition of choreography. It's that which informs. Then everyone is a choreographer in the sense that they are having to negotiate with choreography, the material that informs how one acts. And yeah, the traditional role of the choreographer is just on a larger scale. However, they are still invested or should be somehow invested in the same concerns that the dancer is. Um, but I agree. What's really nice in the structure we've formed in dance is that the dancer has the privilege, is given the privilege to be concerned with um, less. They don't have to be concerned with the greater frame. And in fact, I would say sometimes the dancer's ability to work and their autonomy is oft can be inhibited by the choreographer intervening in their space, into their terrain of agency or autonomy in a way which doesn't provide them the choreographic um, power, perhaps, to be able to truly take control and have control over their own um, practice. But of course, sometimes maybe this is necessary or is important for the process or the aesthetic or for a certain experience, right? Like, um, but definitely, I agree. Like, there is there's a contention that we're all dealing with, which is fundamental. And sometimes I think that's why I was so concerned with ethics when I started thinking through the lens of expanded choreography, was how it's almost a condition, an ethical condition that we're all subject to. as ethical subjects, we must engage with that which informs our actions in order to be ethical, to be an ethical subject. Wow, we're right into the philosophy.
It's really research somehow.
Yeah, this was the topic this week, research. I had
Yeah.
I finished with this question, right, or this statement almost like that research is only additive. But I remember hearing this tale or story, maybe it's real, that there's a subject of research called meta-ethics, and it's the study of studying ethics. And the question that they research within meta-ethics is does it are you more ethical if you research ethics? And the conclusion was sort of no. To research ethics, you become less ethical. And of course, it's a very interesting sort of statement on maybe the nature of research in the sense that by knowing too much, do you inhibit your ability to act in an ethical manner? Um, Somehow, I don't know, but yet I feel so invested in research as a practice. But does it undermine something in dance? Like is is there something lost through thinking, through criticality? Today, I'm dealing with a lot. We had a busy week. We started our compositional study group, which was really amazing. And I was also in Yorkshire with Amelia Hawke. Um, uh, we'll see. Trying to record a podcast. It was a beautiful experience. So I've had a
Wow.
busy week, and I decided now my dance I would lie down and maybe do the whole podcast with my eyes closed, lying on my back, speaking to you. And in a way, this is a dropping and letting go, and um, surrendering to that non-thinking. But am I doing it out of a place of criticality in the first place anyway, which affords me to provide that framing?
Oh, wow, Peter.
Yeah, good morning, Yari.
Good morning. Uh, I th if I understood well, your question is by thinking or by dealing with so much with thinking in the field, is there a risk that we are losing ethics of the practice? Is that
Hmm.
what is this
Yeah,
your question, right?
yeah. Or is something lost through criticality?
Yeah.
Overthinking, over questioning. Does it?
All right. Yeah, I mean, what I feel, what I think, or I sense that, yeah, overthinking it means very often not acting because to be scared. Am
Yeah,
I wrong?
yeah.
So in that sense, there could be a lost. Um, oh, everything could be a problem, so we don't act. So like this, nothing worse than this will happen. So yeah, that's definitely. I think it's an issue when we speak about research too early, maybe in education.
Hmm.
I would say.
Hmm.
Apart that research in itself, that word, it scared dancers or artists or students.
Mm.
or then attract as a way, as a word that bring value. If you are not doing research, then you're not actually valued.
Yeah.
So and 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 so I think in both cases research is quite bad in both cases.
Mm.
If these two things happen, it's like, for what, right?
I love this because I think I've been advocating for the opposite. I've been advocating that we should try to imagine education as research-based from the very beginning. And I think it has part to do with the study I did around babies and children um, in relationship to their developmental science, in
Mm.
relationship to that, is how experiment based they sort of are. You know, there's this idea that they
Mm.
are little scientists.
Mm.
And I think that's sort of set up this precedent in a belief that maybe we could have an education that goes all the way through, that doesn't start with a sort of research like mode and then turns into a less research mode and then has to be reintroduced later on as a thing. That there might be a way that education is continually research based. I think if education was to sort of take that form, though, it would mean that it would be less focused on sort of objective needs that society deems as like you must learn algebra or whatever it is, or the pirouette before you can start in order to have the knowledge to be able to research
Yeah.
independently, and it would orient learning around the interest of the student um, continuously from the beginning, uh, perhaps leading to a scenario where you might have someone who is educated in some type of dance, but has not experienced the pirouette, for example.
Yeah. Right.
But do you
And
do you
thanks to
yeah, yeah,
this,
say
sorry,
say
and thanks to
no, go.
this, people will invent new pirouettes, will come up with
Mhm,
new concept of pirouettes. Because me, that have been doing pirouettes since the age of 9, I
mhm,
have zero capacity to go beyond the pirouettes I know. Obviously,
mhm,
I'm also want to say that because skills
Yeah,
are good, but they are tools that
that they become embodied. They become
exactly,
identity. They become personhood.
exactly,
They
exactly,
become body. You know, that there's almost
exactly.
a physical obstruction
But
that
now
gets
we are speaking about pedagogy research. Am I wrong?
maybe.
Like
Yeah, yeah,
somehow.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But I wanted to ask like quite a simple question, which is like, do you find the word research empowering for yourself? Has it
No,
been something that has empowered you, or
no, not at all.
wow, so this is really where your um your feeling comes from, probably. Because for
Yeah,
me, I found it only empowering, which is interesting.
yeah. I probably is what I explain. I always see that I see these two dichotomies of
Mm,
using research as an extra value, and or research as something that you will never get because you're not good enough. Like. And so, but I mean, I use inquiry as to empower, like to feel like inquiry. I mean, in that sense,
mhm.
as a research instead of research. So in the end, it's not a big deal. But also, it's
Yeah, yeah.
very nice
So
that you explain about the different research. I mean, there is also
mm,
like,
yeah, because
so that also
also
is more like,
yeah, because what something you're describing is how research is quite a loaded term. Like it comes with a lot of institutional baggage. Am I, would that be fair to
Yeah.
say?
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't know. I just feel like it's so boring when I hear my colleagues speaking about their research constantly. I'm researching this, but not as as like playful inquiry, but
Hmm.
as a way to brand, to make their own, like,
Right. Yeah.
and I'm not saying that I feel they're pretentious. I just feel like pity for them. Like, God, you had to enter this and to make it that everything, like, it fits the market, or
Hmm.
I'm not saying that, maybe they're really doing this, and I'm sure. I'm
Mm.
not doubting this. I'm just saying,
Mm.
like, that kind of naming it as like, oh, what is
Yeah.
the new object to buy tomorrow?
Yeah.
Um, but
Yeah.
maybe also it's just underlying my incapacity to research beyond what I practice or what I do.
Yeah.
I also have to say that, it was very nice to have in your workshop this, like, and now you go research a team. It was not about dance. It was not about anything. It's like,
Mm.
yeah, you get. So,
Mm.
uh, yeah,
Well, I mean, I think I completely agree. I think it does have this um, quality of branding that um, you become an expert, or you become somehow mm, locked in somehow. That becomes your field of expertise, and that you have to remain there. And I think the thing I really embrace with the research I've encountered, and I think maybe I should speak about that as well, like, is the spirit of research, the spirit of criticality, of questioning, of wandering, of looking, of going deeper, of never finalizing, almost always playing, which is kind of what you're talking about in inquiry. In was that the word you used?
yeah,
Yeah, it's such a nice yeah juxtaposition. So like I have done lots of research with professors, um, different professors, and often in very different ways as well. But I have never officially ran an academic research myself, aside from my master's. So I haven't done a PhD, um, and I haven't had a research project that has been funded and has been sort of articulated through the sort of like academic schema of creating a research project. However, I have entered other people's. And I think that entering and coming through many different people's research has maybe provided me quite a rose-tinted glasses type experience of research, where
yeah,
I experience it as this very playful space. And I've really enjoyed how it differs from the rehearsal room, going into a project for the stage, because it doesn't have this final place, and questions are just constantly invited. And I love being in that place where we don't have to put aside the questions to stay to do the performance, to sort of like, let's just ignore those itches that you have. There's always more possibility to sort of continue asking questions. Even the result often is like a presentation or something which invites and includes questions, further questions, which I find differs a little bit from performances that I've performed in.
yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, because one of your, it looks to me that one of your main point is usually really to find a space for dance or in choreography to
Mm.
be beyond the stage, beyond the real, so beyond the project of a performance and beyond performance. So it is exciting to see how good also you can do this, and clearly uh, although academical research in the Scandinavia is quite, you even you said you've been doing research in your master, but no, because actually master is a preparatory research. It's not even in terms of
Yeah.
I'm speaking
Yes.
obviously about legislation and institution and what
Yeah.
is institutionalized research,
Yeah.
academic. So just to say, but it's obviously very clear that what you're doing is strongly research in any kind of project or process you are doing, and this is what we need.
Mm. Mm.
Sorry to have
No, no, this is it was really it's very true.
to have a
And
rant.
I had to think as well, like, was what I was doing at the MA level, was it official research, And you're right, it's preparatory work for research. Um yeah, it's interesting. I think it's such a um yeah, curious space to keep thinking, like how open do we wish to be? How inclusive of criticality, of change, of
Mm.
plasticity, perhaps, do we
Mm.
wish to allow
Mm.
our forms to take, right? And can education, can performance, can art, can dancing, can life remain in this plastic form? And by plastic, I'm very much referring to Catherine Malibu and her philosophy on plasticity, which comes from looking at the brain, but
Mm.
it's a form which um, is explosive. It has this ability to be and not be. I'm poorly referencing the research that she's done, the philosophy, but um, that's why I use the word plastic.
Mm.
I know Chrissa uses it. Chrissa Parkinson uses it in
Yeah,
some way to describe dance.
yeah. Are you also sort of thinking about plasticity as both active and passive, like as like w- do you think research blend a lot this I'm thinking about group research, or I'm thinking about
Mm,
hierarchies also, because usually the active is always more valued than the passive and so on.
Yes, it does
And I
include, I
wonder,
think. Yeah.
yeah.
I think, and I think I'm more talking about the spirit of research if I'm advocating for research now. Because I agree the this structured notion of research is perhaps not what I'm advocating for necessarily. Although I think it's very important, and it should be fought for, but the thing that is important within it is the spirit. I would say this the spirit of changeability, of um, criticality.
Hmm.
and
Ah, yeah, playfulness. Hmm. Wow, it's
uh,
beautiful to put playfulness beside criticality,
mm, mm,
because they could seem something that are
mm,
the opposite of each other.
absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think there's a book by Oscar Wilde called Artist as Critic. And I want to read it, but I haven't. Um, but I find it very interesting. In fact, the idea of witness and critical witness as a as the artist. So he sort of makes this argument that the artist is not the artist, it's the critic, which is completely bananas, right? Um, but I do love this idea of positioning the artistic role in the witnessing role. And I feel we have some similarity there where listening practices and witnessing practices are super important. Like if we think of authentic movement, this dance practice that me and Yari have been doing, um, where you have someone authentically moves and the other person witnesses, there is something extremely powerful and artistic by that role. And I think it infers a quality of artistry onto the mover through the witnessing. And that relationship is extremely interesting. And I believe we've spoken about dancing alone and stuff before. I believe also we can witness ourselves, we can be witness to our own experience, to our own dancing. Um,
Mm.
which then causes a huge sort of entanglement that's involved in the sort of ecology of art making and art practice. Mm.
Yeah, also the responsibility that actually the witness has, like it's very big.
Huge, huge.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Mm.
especially in authentic movement, it's sort of articulated in such a beautiful way,
Yeah.
where it's extremely strict and
Mm.
or it can be, depends who's
Mm.
leading the practice.
Mm.
But the way we've been sort of investigating it, um, there's a there's a clarity to how one witnesses. Hey Ari, this is a pleasure as always. Um, shall we dance a little to say
Y-
goodbye?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I see you in the next one.
See you in the next one.
Okay, let's end here.